Extended Read 2. Remember to annotate as you read.
Queen Elizabeth II of England by Benjamin Godfrey. The time was June 2012. The place was London, the capital of Great Britain. Tens of thousands of people filled the streets to watch a procession. Millions more watched on television. The crowd cheered as an 86-year-old noblewoman rode past in a carriage trimmed with gold. She was her country's monarch, and the procession was held to honor her Diamond Jubilee. This event celebrated her 60 years as queen. At the time, she was the second longest-serving monarch in Britain's history. Her name is Queen Elizabeth II, 1926 to present. She ascended the throne in 1952, following the death of her father, King George VI. Just as Queen Elizabeth I was a popular monarch, so is Queen Elizabeth II. She has won the affection of the British people and the respect of many nations. However, compared to the reign of Elizabeth I, Elizabeth II's reign has been very different. Upheavals in government, including the development of democracy and the many social reforms of the past few centuries, have greatly changed Great Britain and the world.
As part of her Diamond Jubilee celebration in 2012, Queen Elizabeth II rode through the streets of London.
Queen Elizabeth II is not an absolute monarch, as was Elizabeth I. She is a titular monarch. This means she holds the title of queen, but does not have any real authority. She does not govern the country, nor can she make decisions that directly affect the lives of citizens. Today, those decisions are made by Parliament and the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister serves as the head of government and has a role similar to that of the U.S. President. For more on differences and similarities between the British and U.S. governments, see page 27. Why are the two Queen Elizabeths so different? Great Britain has changed considerably since the 1500s, when Elizabeth I ruled, and so have the times. In the late 1600s and into the early 1700s, Great Britain transitioned from an absolute monarchy into a constitutional monarchy that functioned akin to a democracy. Unlike the United States and most other democracies, however, Great Britain does not have a constitution that is contained in one document. Instead, Great Britain's constitution is found in a series of documents or statutes, including the Magna Carta, 1215, the Bill of Rights, 1689, the Act of Settlement, 1701, and other acts of the Parliament. These documents protect the rights of citizens in Great Britain in ways similar to how the U.S. Constitution, 1787, and Bill of Rights, 1791, protect the rights of Americans.
King John signed the Magna Carta in 1215. It guaranteed the people of England certain rights that the king could not take away. Some historians say that the Magna Carta is an early version of what other countries would use as a model for their Constitution and Bill of Rights.
Many countries, including the United States, have a constitution in one document because their people fought a revolution and then started a new government. The leaders of the new government wrote the rules on what their new government would be and how it would function. In contrast, the government of Great Britain has evolved and changed over a long period of time. Yet there was no formal revolution when a new kind of government had to be formed. Kings and queens have ruled over England for more than 1,000 years, but their role and power has changed. A constitutional monarchy follows a plan or rules as expressed in a constitution, or in the case of Great Britain, in a series of documents. The monarch serves as the figurative head of state. This means that the reigning king or queen does not rule the nation. Instead, he or she has important ceremonial duties. For instance, Elizabeth II hosts and attends major events and celebrations, such as the Summer Olympics of 2012.
Queen Elizabeth II appeared with her family at the opening of the Summer Olympics held in London in 2012.
Queen Elizabeth II is considered a symbol of England. She does not have the power that Queen Elizabeth I had. Instead, as in other democracies, the power rests with the people and those elected to run the government. The role of Parliament. In some ways, the British Parliament is the same as it was in the time of Elizabeth I, but in other ways it is quite different. The members are still representatives of the people. There are still two chambers, the House of Lords and House of Commons. While the members of the House of Commons are elected by the people, the House of Lords members are not. They are either appointed or have inherited their seat. The House of Lords' power is limited. When Elizabeth I ruled England, Parliament had very little political power. There was no formal cabinet of advisers, no prime minister, and no political parties. Today, Parliament's main roles are to examine and challenge the work of government, debate and pass laws, and enable the government to raise taxes. In this way, Parliament functions much as the U.S. Congress does.
Queen Elizabeth II officially opening a new session of Parliament.
During Elizabeth I's reign, there were no political parties in England. Now, there are three main parties and a few minor ones. The Queen does not belong to a political party and remains neutral during elections. By not voting, she and the royal family demonstrate their non-partisanship. General elections for members of Parliament are held every 5 years, on the first Thursday in May. British citizens vote for members of the House of Commons, who represent constituencies or electoral districts. Since 1970, the legal voting age in Great Britain has been 18 years old. There has been some debate recently about lowering the voting age to 16. After general elections, the party that has the majority of seats in Parliament forms the government and selects the Prime Minister. Parliament and the government are separate institutions, although they work closely together. The government's main responsibility is to develop and implement policy and to draft laws. Parliament is the highest legislative authority in Great Britain. The members of Parliament, MPs, debate issues and policies and make the laws and decisions that affect people's lives. They no longer have to gain a monarch's approval to turn a bill into a law. The Queen does maintain contact with Parliament, though. As part of her royal duties, she officially opens each new session of Parliament. The Prime Minister often meets with the Queen to discuss laws and seek her counsel.
The British Houses of Parliament. Two democracies, the United States and Great Britain. Both the United States and Great Britain are democracies in which all citizens have equal access to political power and enjoy universally recognized freedoms and liberties. The way each government is organized differs in some respects. U.S. Great Britain. Comments. Type of government. Republic. 3 branches of government. Constitutional monarchy. Royal family has very little political power. Head of government. President. Prime Minister. The President is elected to a 4-year term. The Prime Minister holds power only while his or her political party commands a majority of votes in the House of Commons. Legislative bodies. Congress. Senate. 100 members directly elected for a 6-year term. House of Representatives. 435 members directly elected for a 2-year term. Parliament. House of Lords. Around 800 members largely appointed. House of Commons, 650 members directly elected for a 5-year term. Cabinet members in the United States cannot be members of Congress. In Britain, government ministers must be MPs. Guiding legal documents. U.S. Constitution. Bill of Rights. Magna Carta. Bill of Rights. Various acts of Parliament. Political parties. 2 main parties, Republican and Democratic. 3 main parties, Conservative, Labor, and Liberal Democratic. Judiciary. Supreme Court, 9 members appointed by the President, approved by Congress. The highest court in the country. Supreme Court, 12 judges, final court of appeal. In the United States, federal judges are appointed, but most state judges are elected.
The Queen's duties. Although Elizabeth II is a titular monarch, she does have some important duties and responsibilities. She serves as the head of the Church of England, just as Elizabeth I did. In addition, Queen Elizabeth II, as her nation's ultimate goodwill ambassador, hosts leaders from other countries. She also visits other nations to help promote her country. Unlike Queen Elizabeth I, who did not leave England, Queen Elizabeth II has traveled more than any other British monarch. Her travels have strengthened Great Britain's political and economic relations with other countries. During her reign, Elizabeth II has made a number of reforms or changes. She introduced the walkabout in 1970, which is an informal meeting with citizens, where the Queen shakes hands and chats with ordinary people who have come out to see her. In 1992, during a recession, she started paying income taxes. According to the New York Times, she did this to diminish resentment over royal wealth during a period of economic hardship in Great Britain. The Queen also opened her homes, Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle, to the public.
Queen Elizabeth II and her husband, Prince Philip, far right, hosted a dinner for President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle, in 2011.
A long reign. Elizabeth II helped bring about a major change to the monarchy as well. According to the rule of male primogeniture, a female could only take the throne if there were no direct male heir to fill the seat. In 2013, with the Queen's support, a new law was passed to end that rule. As a result, Great Britain may have even more queens in the future. In 1957, Queen Elizabeth II gave a speech during the holiday season. She talked about the monarchy and her role as queen. She said, "In the old days, the monarch led his soldiers on the battlefield, and his leadership at all times was close and personal. Today, things are very different. I cannot lead you into battle. I do not give you laws or administer justice, but I can do something else. I can give you my heart and my devotion to these old islands, and to all the peoples of our brotherhood of nations." And she has been doing that for more than 60 years. Today, only about 24 old world monarchies remain, none as visible as British royalty. Queen Elizabeth II remains popular at home, and by virtue of her longevity, is an international celebrity. She and the royal family bring many tourists to Great Britain. Still, as more of the old traditions become less revered in the 21st century, there is growing debate about whether Great Britain should remain a constitutional monarchy or form a new type of government.
British postage stamp, circa 1957.